I want to show you how I take an Instagram DM or a Facebook DM or an email or a website outreach and turn that into a paying, reoccurring client. I'm going to show you my onboarding process. I'm going to show you my step-by-step process to delivering a great service to my clients and really show you point A to point Z, the entire process that I have with my clients. Let's jump into the video. What is up, my friend? Jacob here with another video to help you record better, mix better, and work better. You'll notice today I'm not in my usual space, and that is because unfortunately, gearing up to the holidays, I've gotten a cold or some kind of sickness. My left ear is completely blocked. I have a little bit of a sinus infection maybe, I don't know, so I'm not at the studio currently. And I decided to take this time to stay at home and rest a little bit. And while I'm home, doing nothing and resting, figured I should film a couple videos for you. So the next few videos you'll probably see filming from home, but don't worry about it, it's not gonna change the quality of the content. Let's jump into the video. Today we're gonna be talking about the onboarding process that I have with my clients. Onboarding meaning the process of turning a warm lead, which is Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, people asking you about your rates, about your mixes, whatever, turning that into a paying and reoccurring client. So I was having this discussion with a friend of mine not too long ago about the process A to Z, how I manage the client, how I manage expectations, and kind of guide my clients through the process of working with me. Now, it is important to keep in mind that if it's the first time that this client is working with you, it's safe to say that it's a scary first step, right? They don't fully trust you yet, but it's not too difficult to gain that trust because odds are if they're hiring you to work on their project, work on their mixes, work on their songs, they've been following you for a while, watching what you've been up to, keeping up with your social media for, maybe a few months, a few weeks, a few years, who knows, right? So what's important in this onboarding process is to make sure that this client feels comfortable and that you're cool, you're not overbearing, overwhelming. It's really important to make the process super easy and explain absolutely everything step by step to not kind of overbear the client. So let's start with the onboarding process. When I receive an email or a text or a DM from a client asking about my rates, my services, I usually ask before anything to hear some of the work. Either they can send me some demos or show me some songs that are already released. Really, I just want to make sure I'm the right fit for the job. So we get that first contact, I get an Instagram DM, I ask the person to send me some demos, I take a listen, I like the demos, I shoot them a message, hey, I'm super down to work with you, I'm very excited, thank you for reaching out, blah, blah, blah. If I don't hear from the client for about a week, I'll send a follow-up message just telling them, hey, I got the demos, I'm really down to work together, let me know if you're still interested, something along those lines. And in that exchange, if possible, I'd like to get the client on the phone or even better, a FaceTime or like a Zoom call, just to have like a face-to-face conversation and work out some of those details, like for example, how many songs, any kind of reference mixes or things to pay attention to, deadline, very important, and also even get it out of the way as fast as possible, talk about the budget. What are they looking to spend? If they're looking to spend a little less than what you would have charged for the project, maybe there's some negotiation to be had where you take on less responsibility, maybe less revisions, you put a cap on certain tasks, maybe to make it more worth your time for the budget that the client has. So these are all things you're gonna wanna discuss before sending over a proposal for the project. Once you've got all the information you need from the client, then it's probably about time you send a proper formal proposal with details about the price, how many songs, the deadline, the step-by-step process. A, you're gonna send me your files. B, I'm gonna prep and tune them. C, I'm gonna update you on the process. D, I'm gonna send you a first mix. E, we're gonna do revisions. F, we're gonna do blah, blah, blah. Give them like a list of the step-by-step process of working with you along with the price quote, along with an attached invoice. I find it very important to break down in a very simple point form list all the tasks that you're gonna be performing for that client so that they're aware of your process and where you are in the process while you're working with that client. Once the client approves the proposal you've sent over, then it's time to go through the process with them and say, hey, now next step this, second step this, third step this. Usually I'll start with the first step being you need to send over a deposit for the invoice or pay the whole invoice in full. I don't usually like to touch files unless I've received some form of compensation from the artist, only because personally my time is limited and I want to make sure I prioritize the clients that have already paid in full or at least put in a deposit for the projects that I'm working on. So first step, pay a deposit or pay the invoice in full. Second step, send me the files using WeTransfer, Smash, Google Drive, Dropbox, whatever works for the client. Then I'm going to download the files, prep the session, Then I'm gonna start a mix. Once I get a version 1 of the mix, send it over to the client, book a phone call, maybe with audio movers or something to do a live revision session. If we don't have time, then a simple point form email with detailed, revision notes, at minute 135, bring down that synth pad, whatever. I think along this process too, it's very interesting to send email updates or even text updates and let the client know where you're at in the process. Try and keep the client as involved as you can, because they're gonna give you money and then you're gonna disappear and do your work. Your clients might be sitting there kind of twisting their thumbs waiting for news from you, after they've paid you their hard-earned money. So try and keep them involved, keep them up to date. Hey, client X, I've just finished doing a version 1. I'm gonna take a step back and listen to it tomorrow morning. And then once I'm satisfied with any minor tweaks I need to do, I'm gonna send you a version 1 and we could start the revision process. For example, little kind of updates like that to keep your client up to date on what's happening and kind of let them dive into your world. Next step, once I have version 1 done, I'll send it to them in a nice formatted email. Hey, client X, here's the version 1 of your song. I was very happy to work on this. It was a lot of fun. Here were some of my main challenges, A, B, C. Here were some of the extremely fun parts of doing this mix, A, B, C. Give them a little kind of breakdown of the process that you had during the mix, and then attach a WAV file. I try not to send MP3s to the clients. I try to send a high resolution WAV when I can. And then from there, I'll explain either we can schedule a phone call or a Zoom call using audio movers to stream the session and do revisions kind of in person, or if they're local, they could come to the studio and do revisions with me as well. If I can't schedule a one-on-one phone call with audio movers, then of course we could do point form emails. It's important also to explain what you're looking for in the revisions, like how to kind of format them. At 1 minute 36, this clap is too loud. Can you bring it down a little bit? Or something like track name, drum, perk, loop. Too loud, bring it down or bring it up. Clear, concise notes. You don't want kind of philosophical notes. Like I feel like the song has too much green and needs a little more purple. That doesn't help me. I need to know in more technical terms. The client doesn't need to be fully versed in, can you bring 2.5K down on the vocal by 2 dB? They don't need that, but you have to make sure that the notes they're giving you are concise and clear. Like, the vocal is too loud, bring the vocal down, or I find the vocal a little bit harsh, can we make it a little less harsh? Things like that. Work that out with the client so that the revisions you receive from them are clear and you know what you need to do. Now, maybe after a few rounds of revisions, the client is happy, ready to go for the final deliverables. I like to deliver a full quality wave, so 2448 or 2444, whatever the native sample rate was, in a wave format. Then I deliver a 16-bit MP3 and a 16-bit wave for distribution. So I'll deliver those 3 files, and then maybe in a separate folder if the client requests it, or if I ask the client and they need it, I'll send them an a cappella, an instrumental, and even mixed stems, so that if ever they need to do a specific version or a radio edit, they don't need to ask me. They already have the stems that they need. And I'll usually send over all those files either with a Smash or a WeTransfer link. Download all that, obviously make sure that they have everything they need. And then after maybe a week, I'll just follow up with them and say, hey, I was very thrilled to work with you. It was really fun working on your song. I hope we can work together again. Let me know if you need anything. Thanks so much, Jacob. Just to kind of follow up to see if they need anything and even just stay top of mind, because every now and again, if you're sending follow-ups, then the client is always gonna be thinking about you, right? If they had a great experience from A to Z working with you on your mixes, then next time they have a song to mix, they're gonna think of you and they're gonna write to you about the next project. So it's important to kind of provide that great customer experience from A to Z. If you go to a restaurant and you have awful service and the waiter or waitress doesn't take care of you, you're probably not gonna wanna go back to that restaurant. As opposed to if you go to a restaurant, you have an amazing time and the waiter or waitress is fantastic with you, you're gonna be more inclined to go back to that restaurant, right? Same principle for mixing. If you provide an amazing service from A to Z to your clients, there's no reason they're not gonna call you back, especially if you're following up and staying top of mind. And even, this is maybe a side fact, but keeping active on social media, I find social media to be a brilliant tool for me, at least. I stay as active as I can on social media. I post stories, I try and take pictures of every project I'm doing, at least pictures or some videos. Every time there's a new release of something I worked on, I try and post that on my Instagram so that I kind of stay top of mind, right? Clients who have worked with me in the past or are thinking of working with me see that, hey, Jacob is busy, he's always working, and it kind of just like makes you stay at the top of their list of mix engineers or recording engineers for that person, for that client. So after delivering the final files, throw in a follow-up, maybe a week later, see if the client needs anything else. continue staying top of mind, and maybe even a month or two down the line, send another email, send another follow-up in the same kind of format. It was a great time. I loved working with you. The process was amazing. If ever you need anything, please give me a shout. Look forward to working with you again, Jacob. Something simple like that. Every couple months, and it's every time you send a follow-up, you're kind of putting your name at the top of their list once again. Even if you haven't heard from them in a couple weeks, a couple months, you send that email, they're going to read it, and whoop, you're back to the top of their brain, the top of their list. So follow-ups, very underutilized tool in the business. Now, before I let you go, I want to show you a little bit of a cool tool that I use. This is a CRM software. It's called ClickUp, and I use the free version. I don't even pay for this software. I literally only use it for the board function. What it basically is you can create these kind of folders of tasks where, let's say you have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and as you get a request from a client, you write up the song title, the client name, you put it in that first bucket. You're at step 1, you're onboarding. Now you haven't heard back from that client, so you're waiting. It's in the next step for the follow-ups. And then you're in the file gathering in the prep, and then you're in the mixing, and then you're, so you have, with this software, this kind of board visually, and I'll show you right now. In my mixing process, as I was explaining to you, I have an onboarding section, which is warm leads that I need to speak to or follow up with. And then I have a to-do list, which is just normal to-do list stuff that I like to mark down if there's anything I need to do. Then I have that follow-up section, which is essentially if I get a message from a client, or a potential client, I should say, and I ask them for some details, demos, how many songs, when's the project deadline, etc., and I don't hear back from them, they go into this follow-up category. And then after that, once I receive files by email, I have a prep section. And in between those two sections, there's the invoice process, there's the proposal process, so that kind of happens in between there. But once I receive the files, it goes into the prep section. Once it's all prepped and ready to mix, it goes into the mix folder. Now I get working on it, takes a week, takes 2 weeks, takes 2 days, whatever. Once I have a version 1 of that mix, I'm gonna drag it now to this revisions folder. Once it's in the revisions folder, it's because I'm waiting to hear back from a client on revisions. So either an email with point form mix touch-ups, or schedule a phone call, schedule a Zoom call, audio movers, whatever. Once that's done and the mix is approved, it goes into the metadata section, which is when I'm working on full albums and I do the mastering for the albums, I will get the metadata, which is like, let's say, the label copy with the artist name, the song titles, the ISRC codes, the MPC codes, the whatever, all the different songwriters, composers, arrangers, all that info. I get that from the client, I input it into the final masters, export that, send it to the clients. And those are my final deliverables. Once that's all done, they have everything they need. I'll get in touch with them, see if they need stems or performance mix versions, whatever it is. Once they have everything we need, it gets a little check mark and goes into the complete folder. And that's it. So this is ClickUp, and I'll put a link down in the description so you can check it out. Free version just helps me kind of keep track of what's going on in my head, because I have a lot going on between the content and my actual work mixing. I have a lot of stuff happening, so I like to use this software to track where I am in the progress of all of my clients. So that is it for my onboarding process with new potential clients, how I'm turning these warm leads into paying, reoccurring clients using follow-ups, using proposal templates, using ClickUp to track my progress, keeping the client up to date throughout the whole mix process. Basically, what's important and what's most important is that you provide an amazing experience from point A, the first contact, the Instagram DM. You provide amazing service from point A all the way to point Z, final deliverables, and even follow-ups afterwards. If you do that and you're kind and you're inclusive with your clients, they will keep coming back and you will stay at the top of their list at all times. So that's it for this week's video. Again, forgive me for the less than impressive decor in the back. Before you go, I want to tell you about something very special. If you're just getting started in audio and you're not sure what to buy or how much it costs to build your studio for yourself or for your clients, I wrote up a free PDF gear guide giving you all the different pieces you're gonna need to build your studio and how much it's gonna cost you. You have a couple different options that won't break the bank, some more expensive, some less expensive. This is absolutely free. I want you to go pick it up. Go to www.mixwithjacob.com/gear guide. Grab that, it's absolutely free. And also, before you go, let me know down in the comments, are you following up with your clients? If so, how many times are you following up with them? Is it every week? Is it every month? Is it every 2 weeks? Whatever. I want to know how often you're doing follow-ups, if you're doing any at all. So let me know down in the comments. Again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you next week. Peace.